Hello friends, welcome back. You are watching day 3 of our 12 Days of Christmas in July series. If you're just getting started, you can find links in the top of the description for the first 2 days so you can get caught up. And if you're new around here, welcome. I hope you will consider hitting that subscribe button to join our crafty little family. For today's project, we're going to be making an accordion fold loaded pocket. So if you've been with me for a while, you all know how much I love to make loaded pockets, but the trouble is, there's never enough room on the inside to include all of the fun stuff that you want to tuck into the pocket. So the way to get around that is to build in more space. And so I've done that with this design for today. I guarantee you I will be making these for every holiday. It was so much fun to make and I really loved this paper collection. So before we get into the tutorial portion of this video, I just wanted to quickly mention how much fun I'm having reading all the comments from our last video. I asked if you could let me know where you're watching from, and the response was amazing. I have never thought I would have so many peeps all around the world, and I was equally surprised at how many peeps were fellow Michiganders. So I am really loving the fact that I get to learn a little bit about you guys as well. Mostly it's just me here blathering on about myself, and now I feel like we're building a better community because I get to know more about you. So I will pose a question for this video, and hopefully you guys will chime in on that too. So if you can let me know, what is your favorite holiday to craft for? And I'm gonna say mine is a toss-up between Halloween and Christmas, and I'm probably going to lean toward Halloween only because Christmas is really a busy time of year and I do enjoy the crafting part of it, but I have less time and I feel more pressure, whereas Halloween is just for funsies. So let me know in the comments what your favorite holiday is to craft for, and we will have more fun reading through all of those responses. Okay, let's get to the tutorial. Okay friends, this is 5 a.m. Ginny, and I normally do not film this early, but I wanted to show you this collection before I cut into it because it is delightful, and I do not throw that word around lightly. This is probably my favorite one from the whole series. This is the Winter Market collection from Carta, and I did not plan to have my blue projects back to back. I actually have all of the projects planned out, and I put them on some Post-it notes, and then I put the project, and then I arranged them by project, and I didn't really notice that the paper collections were so similar for 2 days in a row, but it's on the Post-it note, so what can I do? I don't make the rules around here. So here's this collection, and it is another mostly winter theme, and it has the most charming images here. They are very whimsical, but not cartoony. I just love them so much. There is also quite a few really good sentiments and in different shapes. So I can cut out a journal card that's standard size like this one, or this smaller one. I think that's going to be 3 by 3, and then more that are a banner shape. So there's a lot of flexibility with just this one page. And can I tell you how lovely this paper is? It is so thick and has a nice texture. I really like Carta. They go all in for quality for their paper pads. So here is just one of the cut aparts, and you know I'm gonna work them in wherever I can because I just love all these sweet images. And then snow on the back. I'm gonna do this quickly, I know, because it is 5 a.m. and this girl needs some coffee. But here's a large snowflake pattern. This is great for backgrounds. I'm not sure about that one. If you can see, it has a leaf pattern. It's very subtle and not contrasting. Oh my stars, look at this pattern right here with the branches and the leaves and the pine cones. I just love it. That warm background is going to be nice to work with as well. I'm going to put blue cardstock with it is my plan. I haven't cut into it yet, but I think that's what will work out. This is another set of those cut apart. The images are pretty condensed, so I can clip that down to whatever size that I like. And this one I can even use my tag die to create a better shape and have a little more space for layering. Look at that tiny little house. Oh my goodness, it's precious. Okay, here's more of that similar pattern, but much more condensed and on a lighter background. Tiny tags. This one is just adorable. I think you could cut that into strips and make borders out of that. Hats and mittens and socks. It's super sweet. Here's another snowflake, and they did a good job of mixing the tones of the backgrounds and the scale of that. So this is all blue with dark blue snowflakes. It makes it similar but different, and that way that coordinates so well together. And then tiny snowmen wearing hats. Okay, this one has different cups and mugs and straws and spoons and marshmallows and everything you want in a cup of coffee or cocoa. So this one has larger snowflakes, like I said. They do good mixing up the scale of the patterns. Here's trees. And then this one is a dark background with the snowflakes. So kind of a theme, but they did mix it up well enough that you can get totally different looks that all coordinate across your project. And we're gonna go through a lot of this paper. So I just wanted to make sure that I showed it to you before I cut it up. And so this one has all the little holiday friends here. And then just a basic stripe on the back. And you know I love stripes almost as much as plaids because they become a really cool graphic element when you put them as borders or strips. Okay, so that's all for 5 a.m. Ginny. And I'm gonna go upstairs and have myself a cup of coffee and sort out all the measurements for this, and hopefully you all will love this project as much as I think you will. In my head it's great, so we'll see if it turns out. Turn you over to future Ginny, which will be recording at her regular time. Okay, back to current time Ginny now, and I hope that 5 a.m. Ginny was able to put a few words together that made sense. I didn't get a chance to go back and look at what I recorded earlier, so it will be a surprise for me when I start editing. But anyway, that's what I get for trying to make sense before caffeine. Now we're going to work on the base, and I promise you, this is much easier than it looks. And I've got a couple measurements here. A lot of them are going to be the same for the sides and the bottom, so that's even easier. And one thing I want to mention is that because we're adding so much of the layers on top, you definitely want to start out with a very sturdy base. Here is that base. It is 110-pound cardstock, and it is cut 7 inches wide by 6 inches tall. Here is that beautiful pattern paper collection, and like I mentioned before, I am matting that with a very heavy blue navy cardstock, and that really coordinates very well with this paper collection. And this is going to be the front part of the inside of the pocket. I have another one just like it that will be for the back, even with the heavy-duty cardstock. But I'm going to wait until the end to put that on because I'm not sure if one of the elements I need can be left out or is necessary. So we're going to wait till that moment to finish putting the back on. Okay, let's work on some pockets now. And like I mentioned, these are really very simple. Once I had the measurements down, I think that I'll be able to recreate this pretty easily for lots of different occasions. So I've got my pattern paper here, and this is going to be the top pocket. It is fairly deep because I want to be able to put tall things inside of it. For this first pocket are 5.5 by 11 because I want it to be sealed up at the bottom. So I'm going to come in with my scoreboard and score in 1 inch from the bottom. And then I'm going to turn it over and I'm going to score in 1/2 inch increments 4 times from the side. So that will be 2 inches divided amongst 1/2 inch scores. So you see what it will do when I fold that is just like an accordion, and then this side will be on the back. That will be the same measurement for both of the pockets that cover the width of the book, and then I'll show you later when we get to the smaller pocket how we're gonna adjust those measurements so that we can fit 2 pockets on the same amount of space. Okay. I've got my folds in here for the side and then also for the bottom. Where these lines connect in the middle, I'm going to cut that portion out because that's going to be way too much bulk to fold in to this accordion. and have it lay as flat as possible. So I'm just cutting that portion out, following the line where I scored it. Okay, so now is a good time to bring in the cardstock. This is going to be on the inside of this pocket. It's going to help this pocket be much more sturdy, and then it will also have that nice blue border. The measurement for the insert for the large pocket is going to be 4 5/8 by 7-ish. And what I mean by that is if you were to cut it the same width as this and then not account for what you lose when you score it, it will buckle. So I took my 7 inches and then just cut off the tiniest sliver so that I can fit this down flat. And that's just going to go right into the bottom. I can follow this score line. It's much easier to do this now than when your pocket is assembled. So now what you want to do is take your tape off of the folded portions and fold up that bottom flap. Making sure that you get it nice and straight and level all the way across. So you can see I've already added a little bit more of the tape here on the bottom. I want to make sure that I have a second piece of the tape here up at the top because I don't want things to get stuck on this when they're getting inserted into this pocket. So now I'm going to take off this tape and I'll set this portion aside and work on the next pocket down. Okay, so here is the second pocket, and the measurements for this are 4 1/2 by 11, and we're going to go right back to the same measurements for scoring. So bring it in by 1 at the bottom, and then in by 4 scores of 1/2 inch on either side for the accordion portion. I went ahead and finished the inside of this one already, and the measurement for the insert for this is 3 5/8 by 7-ish. Again, remember to take off just a little sliver off the side so that it will fit flat. And then I'll just go ahead and pull that tape. Okay, for my last set of pockets, I want to have 2 going across that fill the same width. So now my paper pattern measurement is going to be 3 1/2 by 7 1/2. So once again, I'm going to score it at the bottom at 1 inch, and then both of the sides are going to be 4 scores of 1/2 inch. And then my insert paper is going to be 2 5/8 by 3 1/2-ish, so that I have that nice border on the top. Now I will have 2 pockets that span the width of that 7 inches, so I can put in some smaller tags. Okay, the good news is it's going to come together pretty quickly at this point, and the bad news is we have to get out the Tombow again, but it is necessary. It's going to be pretty heavy stuff you're loading in these pockets, so I'm going to make sure that it is very sturdy. And I've got that tape on already. That's going to help hold it in place while the glue sets up. And I'm just going to add this here. On all of these pockets. Then I will layer them on to the base. So here is my first pocket, and because it is cut exactly the width and I've got it measured from the bottom up, I can just add this right to the bottom, keeping it all lined up. Then I'm going to add the next pocket down, and that is going to be added just exactly as the first one. Line it up from the bottom and make sure it's square on the side. That double-sided adhesive tape will help to hold that in place while we're working along. And then we have these 2 smaller pockets. Same thing here, just line it right up. And then this one goes right next to it. So this is the time where you want to add some good weight to it, just to hold everything well down so that it has time to set up. I've put my clear block here. This was my stamping block. I needed a little bit more, so here is a heavy book. You can use that to weight this down while the glue sets up. I'm going to stop recording now, and then I'll come back in when this is ready to be filled up. Okay, now it's had time to set up and it's all set. You can see how cute all those pocket layers are and how much room we're going to have to add all of those inserts in. And so here is the piece that I mentioned earlier. I'm not sure if I'm going to need to use this as a band because I worked ahead and made a full mock-up of this base with some scrap paper before I cut into my collection paper. I just wasn't sure if it was going to need a little bit of extra support around the middle to hold these pockets from falling forward too far. And then I was thinking to myself that it might be just because this paper that I have is just single-sided paper, not even heavy-duty cardstock. So I wasn't sure if I was going to need that or this will be just enough to support all of those inserts. So we're going to fill this up and then have a look at it and then reevaluate if we need that extra piece or if I just think it looks cute and I want to add it anyway. But the fun part about these loaded pockets is having all the fun stuff added into it and creating lots of different interactive things so that it's fun to fill it and then it's also fun to check out all the insides. So here's a little card, and I took one of the journal cards and used a scalloped circle die to cut the image out, and then a second die that's a banner shape, and then I put that sentiment back over the top. So this is basically an A2 size greeting card, and I finished off with more of those poinsettias that I made with the blue plaid paper from yesterday's project and just a little bit of holly leaves, and this one is going right into the back. See how well that fills that space? So I wanted to use as many of the journal cards as I could, and for some of them they were not tall enough to fill the space that I wanted so that all of it was going to show when the pocket was loaded. This one, for instance, is super sweet, and I wanted to make a little folded insert, and so this would be a perfect place to add your pictures and then fold them up here and then tuck them into the pocket. I wanted to have this so that it would show when it was in the pocket, but you see it's too short. What I'll do is add it to a second piece of cardstock. This is that heavy navy cardstock, and I'm just going to clip that on. This gives me an opportunity to add some more fun embellishments here, more holly and a glittery star, and then a pretty wooden clothespin. And this will hold it so that it won't fall down all the way into that pocket. And it will be spaced just exactly where I want it. I like all the layers to show when the pocket is filled up. So that's going to be the back pocket. Now I've got some other elements to add to the center pocket. I've got another of the journal cards. This time it's the 3x4 size, and I did just the same kind of treatment. I put it into an insert that was folded so there's lots of room for pictures and journaling. Then I'm going to tuck that in here to this far side. For this side, I have an accordion fold, lots of beautiful pattern paper in here, and then I only put my navy cardstock on the outside one. I wanted to make sure that this was going to fold properly, so I didn't want to add a lot of additional bulk, but I did add a spacer to the outside so that it's nice and chunky and really fills up that pocket. Here is a paper clip, and I just kind of looped some of that pretty blue trim around it, and you'll see in a minute that I've got this added to the corner, and it's going to help balance all the other embellishments that we put in. And so this goes here in this side. And then the final element for the middle pocket is another one of those beautiful journal cards with the matting. And then I used a rectangle doily die from Gina Marie Designs, and then I finished the back as well. So something can be clipped on here if you don't want to glue it down to the paper, and this will go right in the center. Now you can see we're creating a nice balance of all of those layers. So for the front pocket, I have this little tag, and I really like to add these to thick cardstock and finish the back. So this is going to be a very sturdy tag, and then I put another clip on there with the trim, and that can be tucked into this pocket. And then for my final pocket, I wanted to have this pretty little banner showing on the outside. So I fussy cut that out from one of the journal cards and added this die cut bow with the glittery cardstock. So that's going to balance my star on top. And then I just ran some twine through here. I punched a small hole with my crocodile so that I could slide this aside and put things on this tag underneath. And this will hold this up into the pocket at the proper height. So I'm going to tuck that in there, and you can see how that will hold everything up right where I want it to be positioned. And then to keep that secure, I'm just going to add another clip. So you can see I have a clip and a clip and a clip and a bow and a bow. I've got a flower arrangement for this side, but I just wanted to have a look at how far all of these pockets fell forward once all the heavy things were put in. And I'm just going to have a look too and see if I just like that border strip there. I could just add this and then wrap it around and sandwich the tails in between the layers of the front part of the base and the back part that we haven't added yet. And I'm really kind of thinking that I actually just like how cute it looks. So I'm going to add some double-sided adhesive tape, and I'll just line that up to where the top of that stripe falls. I'm just eyeballing that for finding the middle. I just need enough to wrap around and disguise that tail in the layers of the base. I'm making sure to do this while all the elements are inside because I don't want to make this too small that all the pieces don't fit. So I'll just hold this here and wrap it around. And then I'll do the same for this side. And I'll kind of have a test fit to see how easy these parts are to put back in. Okay, that went pretty well. So I'm going to add the backing on. And then the final element to add are these flowers, and that's going to balance the flowers from the card on the top. So that's all for our accordion fold loaded pocket. If you enjoyed this project, make sure you come back tomorrow for day 4 of our series. Leave me a comment and a big old thumbs up on this video. And remember, you can check in the description for links to all the products here as well as our social media sites. If you're not already, I would love for you to subscribe. And as always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and I thank you so much for watching. Bye.